Good evening. My name is Dele Ayumiba and this is Import Export Platform Facebook Live from Trading Pest Academy. We'll continue our conversation on starting and managing export business, and today we are looking at part 59. And I'm actually starting a new sub-series, and the series I'm starting is called the Market Entry Strategy. Market Entry Strategy. If there is one challenge that a lot of exporters have, is being able to have access to market. If an exporter have a challenge, the challenge is often around issue of having access to market. Understandably so, because the goal of having the business in the first place is to be able to get buyer. So if buyer is not forthcoming, so I can understand that quite all right. Why is a major issue for many people in export business trying to get buyer. What we're going to be spending the next few days discussing is what are the major considerations in getting buyer? What should you be looking out for? What could be hindrances to you getting buyer? How do you meander around these hindrances and still being able to get your buyer at the end of the day? What are the challenges that people face today who want to go into export business? What can you do to be able to mitigate these challenges? So at the end of the day, it become a lot easier for you to be able to do what you need to do in getting buyers. I often say at different fora that if I receive 10 call inquiry in a day on export, that more than half is going to be around getting buyers. So we'll be spending a lot of time discussing the challenges of getting buyers, the hurdles that you need to cross in getting buyers, the marketing process and marketing mix, the entry strategies, the necessary adjustments that need to be made, and many other things or many other considerations that are very critical to you in getting buyers. I'll basically be discussing what some people will call international marketing, getting buyers from abroad. What are the considerations you put into place? What are the things that you should be conscious of? What are the impediments? What are the challenges? What has people done in the past that have worked? How can you replicate those strategies? It's very important you have a good understanding of the workings of this, because being able to have this understanding sincerely is what will give you that needed edge you are looking for. Remember, it's international trade. And because it's international trade, someone said it's a very fierce and ferocious market. Nobody is looking at your face. Every country is competing for relevance. Every country is competing for space. Nobody is going to pity anybody. Nobody is going to pity anybody. Everybody is competing for relevance. Everybody is competing for space. Nobody is going to pity anybody. And these are very important considerations. That nobody is going to pity anybody. So that means if you are entering, in fact, and that's the challenge, because if your government is not supporting you, which is the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria, if your government is not supporting you, I'm sorry, you are purely on your own. Why? Because for some other people, their government are solidly behind them. Their government are solidly behind them. And because their government are solidly behind them, you know what? They definitely have an advantage over us. Because their governments are solidly behind them, they most definitely have an advantage over us. So we will not shy away from those advantages they have over us, but rather is for us to keep developing ourselves to the level of being able to compete favorably in the global market space. I spent a lot of time discussing letter of credit, and I will spend a lot of time discussing other area also. Why am I spending time discussing this other area? I spend a lot of time discussing this other area because they are very crucial and critical area that if we can just sort it out, doing export business become extremely easy. Someone said, there is no mountain anywhere. Every man ignorance is his mountain. Every man ignorance is his mountain. There is no mountain anywhere. Every man ignorance is his mountain. So more often than not, when you are trying to get into export market, people believe, there is this wrong belief that people have that their challenge is getting buyers. And if you have the wrong belief about a business, you will be focusing on what you should not be focusing on because you think this is the challenge or major order or the problem. But you come and find out that, look, this is really not your major order or major challenge or major problem. There are more important issues to consider. There are more important issues to look at, only that you are not taking them seriously because you are not seeing them. You're not seeing them as a major challenge. And the fact that you're not seeing them as a major challenge is a challenge in itself. The fact that you're not seeing them as a major challenge is a challenge in itself. It's a challenge in itself in the sense that the fact that you're not seeing as a major challenge is a challenge in the sense that you are then going to underrate. You are then going to underrate the challenges. Other challenges that you have neglected. You neglected them because you don't see them as a challenge. And the fact that you don't see them as a challenge sincerely is the challenge. The fact that you don't see them as a challenge, in my opinion, that is the real challenge. The fact that what you should see as a challenge, you are not seen as a challenge, is the real challenge. Because it is a challenge, a critical challenge that you should consider, but you are not seen as a challenge. And I'm saying the fact that you are not seeing it as a challenge is, in my opinion, the real challenge. Because if you are seeing it as a challenge, you most likely will take it a little bit more serious than you are taking it right now. But the fact that you are not seeing it as a challenge is making you to take it with levity, and that can be the bane of your business challenges. The fact that it's supposed to be a challenge you should give serious consideration, and you're not giving it serious consideration, could be the bane of your business challenge. Because it's like, this is a problem, but you're not seeing it as a problem. This is a challenge, but you're not seeing it as a challenge. Why are you not seeing it as a challenge? You're not seeing it as a challenge because to you, it's a minor issue. But it is a challenge. A big challenge at that. So for example, we have divided the challenges in export business into 5. The first one is product challenge. The first one is product challenge. Second one is pricing challenge. Third one is paperwork challenge. Fourth one is purchasers challenge. And the fifth one is payment challenge. So you know the challenge? People focus only on the purchasers challenge. Many do not see the product challenge. Even though many don't even know how to price their product yet, but they are not seeing the pricing challenge. There are issues of regulation in the export market. Some people are not seeing the paperwork challenge. There are different challenges you will have or deal with in a typical export market. Inability to know those challenges could spell doom for your transaction. Inability to acknowledge those challenges could spell doom for your transaction. So having a good understanding of the challenge is something I think you must give very serious consideration. Product challenge, pricing challenge, paperwork challenge, purchasers challenge, and payment challenge. But in this conversation, our focus is going to mainly be on purchasers challenge, promotion. And that's why the focus of this conversation is on the export market entry strategy. Export market entry strategy. International marketing is typically more complex than domestic marketing because of the need to accommodate key differences. There is a major difference. There are differences between local and export market. These key differences is what make marketing internationally different from marketing locally. These differences include cultural differences, differences in what consumer needs and wants, differences in the economic levels, structural differences in the market, channel of distribution differences, differences in the way of doing business, differences in law and regulation, different differences. Any one of these differences can render a company approach to marketing ineffective. It can make it counterproductive. It can even be a violation of law, violation of norms, violation of culture, violation of some things in that environment that will make it difficult for you. Let me give you an example. You know, in Asia, I think it's in either China or South Korea or Japan, one of those Asian countries, for the pronunciation of for, the meaning of for is death. I'm looking at cultural issues here. Meaning of for is death. So if you now decided that your product is packed in four, in fact, I was reading a material and was talking about a particular company selling golf balls, and those golf balls were packed in four. Nobody was buying it. We are told that even some buildings don't have 4th floor, 14th floor, 24th floor, 34th floor, 44th floor, just because of the fact that they believe that number 4 has bad luck. Culture is a big issue in any country. If you know how big culture is, there are some things you will not do. In fact, maybe that's why you are really not getting responses in some market. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why your marketing effort in some market are not yielding the desired result. Maybe that's why. You know, I will be doing some comparison as I look at some of these issues, so you can understand the fact that having a good understanding of the export market is so critical, is so important, is so essential that if you underrate it, might be a big challenge. Now let me compare, I'm looking at cultural issues now in marketing. Let me compare United Kingdom and Nigeria, for example. I'll be using the model of Ofstede. Ofstede is a professor of international, a professor of cultural differences across nations. A sociologist, and he's been able to give us an insight into how to compare culture such that when you are doing business across culture, you should have a good understanding. So I will try to compare Nigeria and United Kingdom. I will try to compare Nigeria and China. I will try to compare Nigeria and which other country now do we export to a lot? Let me use India. We do a lot of shipment also to India. Maybe I will also consider US. For United Kingdom, now this professor grouped the cultural differences in market, international marketing. He grouped it into power distance, individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation and indulgence. Long-term orientation and indulgence. And it's very important you understand each of these. It's very important you understand each of these so that you can understand. Now, I will define each of those options so you understand the implication of each of them. Power distance. Power distance is defined as the extent to which the less powerful member of an institution or organization within a country expect and accept what the power is distributed unequally. The degree of respect we give to people ahead of us is called power distance. The degree of respect. When you accept that power is distributed unequally, then you rate that person so high. And that in itself is a great disadvantage in the way you relate to that person. And the implication of that is, in some circumstances, it's a disadvantage to you. Maybe in a number of circumstances. If you are dealing with someone from that country, maybe you are a CEO controlling billions. And this is a staff of a company you are going to deal with. And the way he's very assertive and talking, sometimes you feel offended. You feel, who is this person? He's not even a director, he's just a manager. And see the way he's just talking. And you're negotiating deals with him, trade transaction with him. You might lose that business opportunity if you think he disrespects you because you are not respecting the culture he's coming from. Power distance. The next one is individualism. Is the degree of independence a society maintain among its members. In some environments, people are very individualistic. Very, very individual. They want to be on their own. Individualism. Individualism. The next one is masculinity. The fundamental issue here is what motivates people. Wanting to be the best is masculine. Liking what you do is feminine. The desire to want to be the best, masculinity. Desire to want to be ahead. Unlike individualism that is independent. There's another one called uncertainty avoidance. I'm trying to talk about culture here. And I'll be comparing this culture issue among countries, among nations, between Nigeria and other countries. So you can put it in perspective and appreciate what we're talking about. The extent to which members of a culture feel threatened by ambiguous or unknown situation and have created belief an institution that try to avoid this is called uncertainty avoidance. Long-term orientation. This is how society has to maintain some links with its own past while dealing with the challenges of the present and future. Indulgence. This is the extent to which people try to control their desires and impulses extent to which people try to control their desires and impulses. If you compare Nigeria and United Kingdom, power distance, Nigeria score 80, United Kingdom 35. So Nigeria respect people more. So when you are dealing with someone from UK and it's been assertive, it's not being disrespectful. It just talk the way they behave and talk in their own environment. Individualism. United Kingdom, most of them want to be very independent. Nigeria, we are not very independent. We are a bit communal. You know, and our society is becoming more, we are trying to be, most cities in Nigeria have a lot of people being individualistic, but most rural areas where we came from are more collectivism, less individualistic. Masculinity, desire to be successful. Both United Kingdom and Nigeria are almost at par. Uncertainty avoidance. Nigeria take more risk than the United Kingdom will take. So Nigeria take more risk. United Kingdom people will not take more risk as much as Nigeria. Long-term orientation. United Kingdom people think of the long term. Nigerians think of the short term. Indulgence. Both of us indulge ourselves. We like Owambe, enjoyment. Even though our own is slightly higher, about 84, and United Kingdom about 69, but both of us love indulgence. Now, let me compare us with China, with the Chinese. China. Under power distance, Nigeria and China are on the same level. We are very respectful. Individualism. Nigeria is more individualistic than China. Masculinity. Both Chinese and Nigerians want to be successful. Very, very self-driven. Uncertainty avoidance. The Chinese. Nigeria take more risk than the Chinese. Long-term orientation. Chinese have a very long-term orientation. Chinese have a long-term orientation and Nigeria have a very short-term orientation. Indulgence. Chinese does not indulge itself at all, but Nigeria indulges itself. As you deal with a business partner in any of these countries, this that we are discussing will play out. As you deal with a business partner in any of these countries, this issue we are discussing will play out. Now, a good understanding of this issue will influence the way you go about marketing. A good understanding of each issue will help you to influence the way you go about marketing. You know why? Because if you do not put this in perspective and you go about your marketing activity sincerely, you might hit the rock. You might hit the rock. You might hit the rock. If you like to indulge yourself, Chinese does not like to indulge itself. That's two different worldviews. Chinese want long-term business. They think in the long term. They plan in the long term. They do things for the long term. We are very, very, very short-term oriented. That is two different paradigms. That is two different worldviews. You know what? that can create a problem for you in your relationship with that person. That can create a problem for you in dealing with them. Why? The way they reason, the way they think is different. They're thinking of a long term, you are thinking of a short term. So that means in planning, in that business relationship, they want it for the long term. Some Nigerian businesses, that's why some don't even mind shipping rubbish. They know that if the person pays before he sees the goods, they won't do another shipment. They will look for someone else. There are over 7 billion people in the world. I will look for someone else. Very wrong way of thinking. The effort you are going to use to market someone else could have been invested in something else while you maintain the relation you currently have. And you can increase and expand your market so that you have more people rather than having to deal with new people every now and then. Having to deal with new people every now and then. The differences between us require careful and well-planned approach to entering the market and expanding in the export market. Careful and well-planned approach in entering the market and expanding the export market. I will round off now. Tomorrow we are going to continue and we're going to start discussing adjustment in the export market. Adjustment in the export market. What kind of adjustment will you have to do as you enter the export market? You need to put that into perspective and put that into consideration. The fact that you might need to adjust in the export, and I will discuss extensively of that tomorrow. Remember, my name is Dele Ayimiba, and this is Import Export Platform Facebook Live from 3D Import Trade Academy. This video is available for you on YouTube. Our channel is 3T Impex. And as you visit our YouTube channel, 5 things we implore you to do. Number 1, remember to share the video. Number 2, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notification whenever we are up. Number 3, drop your comments. And lastly, share. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow morning. Bye for now and have a very good evening.